online forum for STEM Southwest. So it's the kind of first of many, I suppose, as we move forward. And what we want to try and do is use the very first one just to be, I suppose, as an information session on what STEM Southwest is, who we are, what we do, and any information in relation to if there are new members who want to join us. The format for this is, we've it up until 5:45. If we finish early, we finish early. If not, we'll keep going. But it's really informal to a certain degree. We will do a bit of presentation just to bring everybody up to speed. And then really it's around just getting some insights from existing members, just for the purpose of letting people know what the value of being part of STEM Southwest is. So, and then there'll be an opportunity at the end for questions and answers. So what I'm gonna do there now is I'm going to share, and hopefully this works because it worked a while ago. So we're gonna go with this, and hopefully now you will be able to see the presentation up. Is it up there?
Just go into presentation mode, Mary.
Yeah.
Lovely. Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. So I'm going to fly through a few slides. I'm not going to dwell on any of them in particular. If anybody has any specific questions on any of the content, they can ask as we go through. So I suppose the first thing to say is what is STEM Southwest in terms of what's our overall mission. And basically what it is, you can see there, we're an industry-led cluster committed to promoting and advancing world-class STEM talent and capabilities to deliver innovation and economic growth in the Southwest region. So the few things that are important there, one is STEM, so it's all about science, technology, and engineering and maths. The second is talent, so it's all around inspiring the next kind of generation of talent, really, and all of what we do is around that core, I suppose, message. And then I suppose the other part there is around economic growth in the Southwest. So it's Cork and Kerry are the two counties that we cover, and it's around economic growth in those two counties. You'll see to the left there, I suppose, really the things that we're trying to achieve through everything we're doing is connecting our members, growing our members, and future-proofing in terms of the businesses that our members are in. So those are kind of, you'll see that throughout the presentation. In terms of our board, so actually I'll go to this one first. Oh, sorry, no, I'm actually missing a slide. Okay. So I suppose we're a CLG, so and we were established initially in 2019, and then we created a CLG in 2023. So basically, it's a board of directors govern our organisation. It's a not-for-profit organisation, which is really important. And effectively everything we do, or any funds that we create is put back into the initiatives that we are running. So you'll see the board is a very diverse board, both in terms of gender, but also in terms of the various different businesses that are part of the board. But essentially we have education, so UCC, we have MTU, we have secondary school through Regina Munday, we have Cork County Council with Sharon on the board, and then we have an array of different businesses, both SMEs and corporate, essentially. And we're also have both, we've Stella and Roisin's on the line now here, so we've both Cork and Kerry businesses represented. So it's a very diverse board. So this is just indicating then, who our partners and members, just an example of who they are. So we work across various different businesses, colleges, institutions, across the region. We have a very simple and consistent, I suppose, strategy and three strategic pillars. So it's all around STEM in the industry, STEM in education, and STEM in the community. And then we have 6 effectively different initiatives that we work on, and I'm just going to go into those in a little bit of detail now as we move forward. So, you know, you'll hear me talk a lot about we do a few things, but what we try and do is do them really well. And as I mentioned at the start, we are not for profit, so it's all we don't have resources effectively working for the organisation. It's all I suppose, what's the word, run by volunteers throughout all of the different businesses and colleges and institutions that we work with. So the first one then is industry engagement, so examples there. So this is just, we run typically 4 leaders dialogues throughout the year. So these are just some examples of prior ones. So you see actually a lot of those people now with the change in government have moved on to different roles and so forth. But essentially, I suppose what we try and do is, the whole idea of leaders dialogues is around bringing together industries and businesses and the various different organisations together to collaborate, to network, and to talk about what is topical in terms of the importance of STEM in the region and how the various different people coming in can support STEM Southwest and support the members in the region. So for instance, when the IDA came in, what they can do to help our region in terms of STEM companies, similar in terms of Enterprise Ireland, Cork County Council, and the various different ministries that came in. So these are very enjoyable. They're quite intimate settings, but it allows that real great collaboration and dialogue to occur. We created last year the STEM Southwest Awards. So we have 4 different awards: STEM in Industry, STEM in Education, and STEM in the Community, and then a STEM Person of the Year. You can see some of the winners here. Last year, so it was a lot of effort by a lot of people in STEM Southwest and on the board to create that last year. We were hosted in Vertigo in Cork County Council, and it was a really fantastic event, and one we're going to grow and develop this year again. There's just some pictures from that. On the education side then, the TY Challenge is a key initiative that we run. So this is really all about targeting TY students, but also the educators of those students, and trying to basically upskill the teacher side of the house to enable then the inspiration of students in the areas of STEM. So it's basically working with teachers, working with companies, and mentoring those teachers and those students over a 6 to 8 week period. And it's a really growing area. So you can see down at the bottom, we started off with 3 schools, and we've evolved. Now we're working with 12 schools, over 400 students, and this year is going to be even bigger. So this is we're trying to scale this whole idea, and again, really important impact it's having within the region. On the STEM and the community side then, I suppose what STEM Southwest started off, it was like this was our flagship event. So we've been very lucky to be able to do it the last 2 years in Cork City Hall. It was virtual then for a few years, and this is another area which is or an initiative, excuse me, which has grown over the last number of years. So it's really around showcasing everything to do with STEM, bringing in companies from the region, bringing in educators within the region, and really showing from primary school to right through to college students, and also to parents, very importantly, what opportunities there are in the area of STEM and STEM education and STEM jobs within the region. Last year we had 2,500 people come through Cork City Hall. It was amazing, fantastic event for everybody, both the people involved, so exhibitors, speakers, volunteers, but then also obviously the attendees coming through, and the amount of learning and education and inspiration that comes out of that event is really impressive. So again, this is another area that we're going to continue to grow into this year. And these are just some pictures from that, so you just see. And then we have a new initiative this year, and I'm actually going to just hand over to Martin Boyle from Eli Lilly and Bonan Hayes from Johnson & Johnson, just to walk through what this is, because this is a new initiative that's been worked on over the last year. And I just wanted to hear from some of the members of STEM Southwest in relation to getting involved in this type of initiative. So Ronan?
Thanks, Mary. Can you hear me clearly? You can?
Yeah.
Perfect. So I suppose what Martin and I have been working on for the last number of months is, I suppose, figuring out how we can, I suppose, first of all, identify gaps in where, I suppose, industry is currently engaging with schools, and then maybe figure out how we can address those gaps. So as is outlined in the slide here, you know, the objective of this particular initiative is to inspire the next generation of STEM talent through direct industry engagement and support of schools across the region, targeting both students and teachers, and where applicable parents, with a particular emphasis on expanding industry's reach into more remote schools that are not covered by industry partners currently. So in a nutshell, what I suppose Martin and I have done over the last number of months is we have got, I suppose, a clearer picture of schools where industry currently isn't engaging. We acknowledge that maybe locally, for example, here in the Cork region, that you have a lot of schools, for example, down around Ringaskiddy, Kinsale, etc., that are receiving a lot of industry support. So what we've done is we've identified approximately 16 schools, and this was done in collaboration with the Department of Education and SkillsNet through a survey that they issued to schools. So we identified approximately 16 schools in areas that aren't currently catered for by industry. And what we are currently doing is we're trying to, I suppose, establish a working link with those schools. Probably a key initial step is identifying and confirming the ability and the, I suppose, the passion within those schools to engage with industry, and essentially going from there. What we're looking to do is to use existing tools which have yet to be discussed and ratified with the board, but, you know, just throwing out some examples like, you know, Junior Achievers or something like that, and then getting, I suppose, an industry partner to champion with that school, be it, for example, Bantry in Cork, or maybe Portmagee down in County Kerry, and go from there. That's very high level overview. Martin, do you want to cover anything I've missed?
I suppose one of probably the key concepts for myself and Ronan as we looked at this is, and certainly, you know, the experience from Eli Lilly is we tend to go back to the same schools time and time again. And as we started to look at the schools that were, you know, perhaps not getting any industry engagement, it really probably reflected the breadth of reach that an industry like ourselves can have, and try and get to schools, you know, in the southwest and into the Kerry region, and trying to expand to those schools that have had no experience at all of industry support. So certainly from Eli Lilly's perspective, it'll be a great advantage to kind of collaborate with other companies and try and extend the reach of STEM into the southwest and into the Kerry area, rather than just focusing on our own specific geographies. So I think that's a key enabler and a key concept for ourselves as we've worked through this.
Thank you, Martin and Ronan. And I suppose, like, this is an example of I suppose the power of working as one organisation in STEM Southwest. So, like, Eli Lilly and Johnson & Johnson wouldn't have been working on this type of initiative, or, you know, they had their separate programs working with schools, and this is about bringing together of companies and organisations and that power of working together, being able to create something much bigger and a much bigger impact. And that's really what STEM South West is all about. So we're very excited about this initiative and starting to roll this out this year. So it just gives another example of the power of STEM South West. So I suppose just to go back to then the three key pillars are STEM in industry, STEM in education, and STEM in the community. And these are the key areas then that we're working and continuing to grow and develop this year. We will have another additional few initiatives that will be adding on to this as we move into 2025. We have an AGM at the end of the week, and it's really, once the new board is in place, then we'll be starting to work on those additional initiatives. But staying true to our, I suppose, the core principle of keeping it simple and doing what we're doing and doing them well. So in terms of, I suppose, what the one kind of call to action I would have is that, you know, if you're not a member and you're here for information, which is fantastic, we'd be delighted for you to become a member. So we're going to give an opportunity now to ask some questions, but we also have some additional input from some of the current members. And also you can sign up to our newsletter as well. So I'm just going to come off slideshow for a minute there now. Hopefully this will work. Yeah. Hopefully, that's perfect. So I'd like to just call upon Anita Maguire. So Anita is Professor Anita Maguire from UCC. Anita, can you just maybe just talk through from a UCC point of view what you see are the benefits of membership in the educational field?
Yes, of course, Mary. First of all, I'd say that UCC is delighted to be a member of STEM South West. We see it as a very important initiative in the region. And I suppose as a research-intensive university, UCC has three broad areas of activity. There's our teaching and learning mission, our research mission, and our engagement with the community locally and globally. And being part of STEM South West enriches all three of these in different ways. I suppose one of the most important areas is that one of our missions is to ensure we provide a continued supply of graduates across all of the STEM disciplines with the skills and the insight needed to drive economic and societal success in the region. So with the skills that are needed today in industry, but ideally anticipating the skills that will be needed into the future and making sure that our graduates are ready to adapt as things change. But central to this is attracting in the brightest and best young people to consider a career in STEM. You know, when they come into us, we give them the best experience we can, but getting people to actually want to come and study STEM is really the challenge. And from our perspective, working as part of STEM South West is actually a key element of attracting in more bright young people to see a career in STEM for them, right? So we feel very much that fulfilling our mission in this area is done best in partnership with industry. You know, as a university, we could do so much in terms of going out and selling our programs across the STEM disciplines, but doing it in partnership with companies like are represented here on STEM South West really makes the messaging to the future potential students a much richer one, and it makes it much more real. So what I like to think is that a good functioning university, that there's a porous interface between us and the enterprise sector in the region. So you have lots of exchange of ideas, exchange of people between the university and external partners. And I think STEM South West is actually a really good example of this. So for us, you know, being part of STEM South West helps us in raising awareness among second level students, the careers teachers, the STEM teachers, their parents, you know, all the various stakeholder group that influence the choices that people make when they're ticking their CAO boxes. And for us, you know, being part of STEM South West, where the messaging is being delivered not just by us, but by actually being delivered by companies in the region, makes that much more real for the students. Another real advantage is that the more engagement we have with companies, the more our programs are informed by industry needs. You know, there's an opportunity for our curriculum to be shaped by the input from industry industry, we've people from companies coming in to talk to our students. So the more we can have interaction and engagement, the better our offerings are. And I suppose one of the key elements is that the enhanced contact between our staff and companies means that our staff are more aware of the changing environment and industry, you know, not the environment that they remember perhaps 5 years ago, but what's happening today and what's coming down the line. So new challenges and opportunities are sparked by those interactions. I'd point in particular to the Expo. You know, from our perspective in UCC, the STEM Southwest Expo is without any doubt the best outreach experience in the region for exposing people to the opportunities that there are. And I think the fact that you have the education providers and the companies together showing the opportunities and the energy in the room, it really is the, you know, what I say within UCC, if we're only going to participate in one outreach event in a year, it has to be this one. It's by far the most effective. But we've also seen the benefit of, you know, students who come through the TY Challenge, students who've had exposure to some of the initiatives, their spark for STEM is really enhanced by the process. So for us, you know, being a member of STEM Southwest is just a really positive experience. It helps us to do what we want to do, but it means that we're working in partnership to tackle some really challenging issues. And I think that partnership really is the way forward if we want to continue to bring in a supply of the brightest and best into these disciplines in the region.
Thank you very much, Anita. And we're absolutely delighted to have UCC as part of STEM Southwest as we do with MTU. That was absolutely great. Thank you so much. Sharon Corcoran from Cork County Council, just can I ask you what the value you see for STEM Southwest in terms of driving the economic growth of the region? That's what I spoke about there at the beginning.
Yeah, thanks, Mary, and good afternoon or good evening, all. So I suppose Cork County Council, first of all, is delighted to be a member of the board and to have participated in the initial setup with a number of the academic institutions and a number of the industries in 2018, I think 2018, when we first started looking at the potential for a cluster around STEM. And our motivation, Mary, at the time was we're very aware that the biggest employer in this region is the FDI sector, and that there is a natural sort of an organic cluster of life sciences, now that in the broadest context in Cork. So you could sort of selfishly say they are the ratepayers. They're the biggest ratepayers for Cork County Council, but more than that, they make such a contribution to the local economy in terms of employment. And we were of the view we wanted to work with these industries. We didn't want just to be the sort of paymaster in the sense that, you know, we send out rate demands and then you don't hear from us for 12 months. And we felt that there was certainly a vacuum in this area in terms of the life science cluster, whereby you could have a forum where the industry engaged not only with the local authority, but engaged in a positive manner with the local authority and other strategic partners, i.e. educational institutions, the SME sector in particular. And so I suppose that's the seed from which all of this grew. And from our perspective now, just collaborating in whatever context, whether it's on initiatives like the Expo, the annual Expo, or the awards night, or the Leaders Dialogue, from our perspective, it's an organic cluster. It has grown and grown and grown. People are coming into it willingly. I mean, I just think it's absolutely fantastic to see all of the industry across multiple sectors represented on this forum, and hopefully this will be an open invitation to more to join. But from our perspective, we can have open and unbiased, I suppose, engagement. Normally the engagement with the political body would be, you know, we're not happy with X, Y, and Z services that you're giving us. We're paying you big rates. What are you doing for us? And that is a fair question. I suppose from our perspective, we want to demonstrate that we have a huge appreciation for the sector. We know it's a big employer. We also know, as Anita was saying there a while ago, it's a huge pipeline for the sector in terms of encouraging students, because I know they take placements, students on placement, they take graduates and postgraduates. And so there's this kind of a synergy between the universities, between the industries, and certainly between, say, the political body for making this region I suppose, an exemplar in terms of how we collaborate. Now, that may all sound very waffly and but I suppose the reality is that if any one of these industries pulled out of Cork in the morning, that would be a major loss, not only to us and the local authority in terms of obviously ratepayers, but that's as an aside, it's the employment, it's the community outreach, it's the profile that it gives Cork Inc. as a region, the southwest region in particular. I suppose Cork and Kerry gives us a profile internationally. So I suppose it's our door to the world as well, and putting us on the map. And I was just interested, John, in your comment earlier, I suppose, about just the whole geopolitical situation. And I think now more than ever, Mary, as chair, it's important to keep this engagement, because it's a kind of a glue that will hold us all together, a forum where we can, I suppose, drop the formal faces and collaborate on a sort of an equal level in a very genuine and sincere manner, sharing challenges, but all the time all working for the best of for the good of Cork and its economy, but also of the talent that's coming up right through both the primary and the secondary system, and of course the universities. So I suppose that's what we feel this brings to the region, and to us in particular as a local authority.
Thank you, Sharon. And Cork County Council is a huge supporter, and as you said at the very, very beginning, so and a huge contributor. So thanks for that, Sharon. If we can bring in Gary McGrath now, actually from SGS. So Gary joined last year. So Gary, I'd like to get just, I suppose, a perspective from a relatively new member, what the value of joining STEM South West has been.
Yeah, well, thanks very much, and SGS are delighted to be members of STEM South West from the very get-go, with the engagement with the expo. It's, just enthusiasm coming in behind it, and also the leaders' dialogue as well. It's kind of from a networking point of view. Even though SGS were quite a large company, we wouldn't be very well known in the region, so to engage with the rest of the STEM Southwest members, with the universities, and obviously with the councils as well, it's just it's a good collaboration of companies, education, and local authorities, where we're all kind of pitching towards, the one goal. And me in particular, coming from a recruitment background, I'm kind of very much in the forefront of looking at talent coming through and the education and engaging in the secondary schools. It's brilliant. 2, 3, 4 years down the line, those guys are going to be coming out and into the workspace, and as STEM grows, we'll be offering opportunities, from the likes of Pepsi, J&J, Lilly, SGS. We all kind of need to keep the talent in Cork and Kerry as well. But like from us hosting the leaders' dialogue as well, it was just great to have everybody come down, everybody support it, everybody see what our company is about and what we have to offer. And, hopefully again with Astellas, going down and having, seeing what Astellas do, and what they provide. It's just brilliant collaboration, and really gets us out there. So I find it very beneficial.
Great. Thank you, Gary. And I suppose that's the one thing with the leaders' dialogues we try and get around. So as you mentioned, we've been down to Kerry, to Astellas, we've been down to Gary, who kindly sponsored the dialogue with Dermot O'Rourke. We've been to UCC, we've been to MTU, and we've been to, obviously, to Cork, up to Cork County Council several times. So we try and get around, because again, it gives members an insight into and access to some of these locations as well, and to do that networking. So I'm just going to open it up there now if there's any questions generally from the audience. you just want either shout or put up your hand. And if not, I'm going to ask, is there any other kind of, just from any other, oh, Anita, yeah.
Yeah, could I just say, maybe for people who are not familiar with our activity, it's probably worth reinforcing that, you know, coming on board at STEM Southwest doesn't mean you have to commit a huge amount of time. It's up to people how much they want to engage with, and, you know, people can engage with certain elements. It's not a huge immediate commitment of time, so I wouldn't let people be worried about that.
That's a great comment.
Very good point.
Yeah, a great comment. And that's exactly it. You can engage, you can just go to the dialogues, and that's what you do. You can get involved in the expo. You can get really involved. So, you know, some companies, they actually use it to engage their workforce and get, you know, from a kind of a, I suppose, extra CSR perspective. So there's all different ways you can utilize being involved in STEM Southwest. John, do you have a point there?
Yeah, I was actually just going to just took the words out of my mouth there, Mary, in terms of the opportunity for your staff and people who work in your organization who have a passion for this, to give them a vehicle in which to engage in it. You know, certainly from a PepsiCo perspective, we've found our activity and our engagement with STEM Southwest to be a great opportunity to give people both an opportunity to engage in something that they're passionate about, but also to learn as well and to develop. So it's more than just working on something that they're interested in. Quite often they face different challenges, or they're learning something new, or working with different people that they wouldn't normally try to work with, or different types of organizations. And there's always learning in that. The other thing as well, I'd say, I suppose this comes more from an industry perspective, is honestly, STEM Southwest is a great place for your brand to be, the brand of your organization to be associated with as well. Clearly, there's opportunities for that through the expo, but there's other broader ways as well. And what it means, I think, is that the brand is associated with organizations that want to be seen to be a leader in the area of STEM and are very committed to STEM as well. And I think that's really important for the organizations in the region, as Gary was saying as well, to be attractive as an employer, but also just overall, I suppose, from a brand perspective as well. So that's the other thing I was going to add, Mary, to it.
Brilliant, thank you, John, for that. Is there any questions from anyone? And don't worry if there's not. I know what these forums are like, so it's grand. We'll give you the information on how to find out information on joining, or any other information that you have. Sharon, do you have a point?
Yeah, Mary, could I just make the point that I think one of the primary advantages of a forum like this is the collaboration, the informal collaboration, let's say, because I know certainly from my perspective, with the brief around economic development, it was very hard for me to access individual industries, because I suppose traditionally the contact would be around planning, applications for planning, or queries about rates, etc. But it is such a brilliant forum for just having the casual conversation, and just the networking is really important. And for all of the industry out there, I think it's a great opportunity for the industry to kind of informally collaborate and network with each other. And I understand there are industries out there who compete with each other, but this really kind of softens that and allows that informal. So I think that's a very important message for those who might be considering joining the forum, or who've recently joined.
Yeah, no, excellent point, Sharon. Louise, do you want to just walk through how people can join? If you're there, are you gone?
Yes.
No, Louise is on board.
Yes, I'd love to. Thank you, Mary. Yes, the membership process is fairly easy. You just need to go onto our website and onto the section where it says members and click on apply. That will take you to a Google form. Simply fill that in. And what will happen from there is I'll take all of the information, and I'll get the board to approve it, the board or the executive management team, and then we'll start the process of onboarding you as a member.
Great, thanks so much, Louise. And the other thing is, you can just send us an email if you have any questions at all. So the email is info@ stemsouthwest.com. Am I right, Louise?
It's .ie.
Sorry, .ie. Okay. I obviously don't send many emails to myself. So, so listen, if there's any further comments, any final comments?
No, there's nothing else in the chat. No, we're all good.
Oh, Liz, yeah. Liz has a question there. Thanks, Liz. Liz, you might be on mute there.
I am, Mary. Thank you. Thank you so much. Just a quick note. I'm from Junior Achievement Ireland, as you know, Mary. But just in terms of Ronan and Martin and reaching to schools in Kerry, if I can be of any assistance in that, we already have a programme coordinator down in Kerry, based in Kerry, and working with companies in Kerry. So if that can be of assistance, or if we can partner on that, more than happy to do a call on it. And I'll send, actually Louise has my details.
Perfect. That's a great offer, Liz. So thanks so much for that. And I'm sure Ronan and Martin will be in touch with you. So thanks so much for that. And again, these are the type of initiatives which are just such so beneficial for companies to be involved with, and also in terms of to have access then to other supporting businesses. I mean, that's where the collaboration that Sharon mentioned is really valuable. Yeah. So thank you for that. So it is 17:43. So we didn't run out of things to say, which is always a good sign. So if there is any final questions, just put up your hand. Otherwise, we will give everybody a minute back and wish everybody a nice evening. And hopefully, if you're interested in joining,